Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 248. That's 303. I've been doing this all week, haven't I?
Yeah. A little bit of sleep, eh? Just not enough sleep will do that to you.
Not enough sleep. 348 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Cryon Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is Thursday, March 28th, 2024. And I have no idea what kind of day it's going to be at the Beaver Lodge because once again, it was a short night. I don't think I consider the impacts of post-show adrenaline while having to also have to do a morning show.
Yeah,
it might be a long 2 weeks.
Yeah, sounds like it by nature.
Oh man, I'm your host, the Eager Beaver. Pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And as Kid Jed says, not enough sleep, but plenty of residual smoky eye. If anybody has a tip to get guy liner off much more effectively than I'm managing to do it, I would really
Yeah. I got nothing, man.
Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. As you can hear, kids and cubs, I have my good friend Mr. Grizzly with me here today. How's your mental health doing today, sir?
My mental health, I think, is pretty good. I'm not fully awake yet, and I just looked down at the dog who has her face mere inches from a really super bright LED light that I used to light up my green screen. I'm like, did she like the warmth? I don't know. She was licking my chair. My chair is covered in slobber. I don't understand dogs, but I love them. According to James, if you cry a lot, that'll take care of the guy liner.
Oh, there we go. Baby oil. Huh. Micellar water works very well. I've heard about micellar water, actually. I had forgotten about it, but I have heard about it, yes. All right. I might look at micellar cleansing water. Indeed. Baby oil and a Q-tip. Okay, I'm getting good advice here. I will definitely give it a try. All right. So I guess if people want an update, dress rehearsal with audience went really well. So the disastrous for me dress rehearsal of the day before actually was a good sign. Once again yesterday, however, my mic pack did not stay on, but this time it fell off as I was on my way from the station where I had the mic put on to where I was going on stage. So at least it didn't fall off and go flying across the stage.
Longest
Okay,
that's ever been.
watch me very obviously leave my position to go pick it up and then rejoin the dance. Nobody saw that. So that didn't happen yesterday. Unfortunately, the mic relay did not happen quickly enough that there was a whole number I was supposed to be in that I was absent from.
Ooh, that's a
So
bummer.
we will fix that today because I had a scene transition. I've handed that off to someone else. Apparently, there's no time for me to do both. So I've handed that off to someone else. So that way I should be able to get there on time. But we had a packed house. And by the third song, we had people laughing and cheering and singing along. And by the end, we had a standing ovation. Now, mind you, this was an audience that was friendly because it was mostly friends and family members.
Right.
But definite enthusiasm. And at the end, arms swaying in the audience while we're singing "We Are the Champions." And so we might have a hit. They were laughing in all the right spots and all that good stuff. So we might have a hit. We might have a hit.
I believe what the kids say today is that is a big bowl of awesome sauce.
It's a big bowl of awesome sauce,
Or
indeed.
bucket, I don't know.
It's a bucket.
It's awesome sauce.
It's FLG. Finger looking good.
I was running multiple acronyms through my head. Fiber light generator.
So, yes, a very good show. I think we have a hit. 9 more sold out shows
Nice.
to go.
Very nice.
But yes, we're very excited. Very excited. We tried to find a way to add a couple more, but nobody was available at new times because we choose these dates 4 months ahead, and so people say, "Okay, show's over that date, starting this date, I can go do this," and then people make plans. So, and there's over 20 people in the cast, and then there's all the crew, and then there's the band, and everybody has to be available. So that was a big ask. Unfortunately, if we were all professionals and we didn't have other gigs where we could find somebody else to come in and learn it in the meantime over the next 2 weeks so that we could keep going, that would be one thing. But it's the first time I'm part of a show that actually could have had more shows added by popular demand.
Nice.
It's kind of a nice feeling. I have to say, it provides a warm fuzzy.
Well, I think, it's 4 years since the world shut down, right? And it was right around this time when everything, because I worked until the end of March, and then everything shut down. And you were like, I think the last week of March I was sitting at home, but they were still paying us. And then they said, that's it. Everybody is unemployed as of March 31st. You can apply right now for EI. This is before CERB, SUS, before any of those things. And I was like, oh boy. EI is, I don't know how long I'm going to be home for. EI does not pay enough. And all of a sudden, my vehicle that I just leased at the end of January, I'm now on the hook for, and I don't have any income coming in. So, yeah. Oh, Acoustiseal. Yeah, that's a wonderful product, isn't it? It looks like black tar. Sorry, I'm just reading some comments in chat here.
Oh, okay.
I know what that, I've worked with it before, Mohan. It's terrible stuff. When I was pre-wiring houses back about 30-some years ago, 34 years ago, I was 34, 93, so 31 years ago, I was pre-wiring houses. And I said, that's it. I'm not doing residential work anymore after that. I hated it so much. Pre-wiring somebody's house while it's under construction for home theater, and you're running cables through the walls and stuff, but you have to go in, cut into the plastic, run the cable up, pop it out, put new plastic over it, Acoustiseal. Anyway, terrible stuff. There we got a rock star. There, that's the rock star.
There we go.
Look. Yeah, that's the rock star look right there. There you go.
I got the showing tongue thing from Miley Cyrus.
I would have went with Gene Simmons, but sure.
Gene Simmons, I know. I'm trying to track the kids so that they learn about the true power of rock.
It's the majesty of rock, the mystery of roll. That's a Spinal Tap song, by the way. For those of you who are unaware of what Spinal Tap is, it was a movie in 1982 or 83, and they are currently shooting a sequel.
Nice. Like that. Oh my God, Douglas, too much metal.
These ones go to 11.
Even Mohan is asking if it's Jafar.
Jafar. That's funny.
No, it's not Jafar. It's Bruno. We don't talk about him.
Bruno.
From El Dorado. We don't talk about Bruno.
Sorry, I thought you meant Bruno from Sacha Baron Cohen, the character Bruno.
No. You got tongue from Miley. Oh my God. If I actually got tongue from Miley, the whole world would know about it. Okay, I would have screamed it from rooftops already. I kissed a girl and I liked it.
Well, yeah, sure.
Hey, that song has
so.
that song has a completely different edge when a guy sings it. That's all I will say.
Yeah.
When a gay guy sings it too. I kissed a girl and I liked it. I actually really like the cherry chapstick. I just wanted another taste.
Of course. That's all it ever was. Yes, that's all it ever was.
All right, kids and cubs. We have some news for you today. I am slightly better prepared than I was yesterday. But thank you, everybody that recommended that I take a nap. I did take one yesterday. It ended up being a very, very, very long one. So it pretty much ate all day. After we did the morning show, I was up for a couple of hours, and then like around 11:30 or noon, it started to hit, and I crashed out, I think around 1, and woke up at 4:30, and well, call time was 6, so I had time to had time to eat something and get on a bus and get there. So it wasn't the most productive day. Let's put it that way. And then, of course, you get home and you have the adrenaline thing. So I didn't get to bed. I got to bed before 2, though. So that's better than the night before, because the night before I think was 3:30 with the very long rehearsal. So I was able, that extra 2 hours did allow me to prepare a couple of things, however.
How about that Scott Moe?
Yeah, that I did not get to see. But it turns out that, remember when we talked, I think yesterday, about the Conservatives bringing something to the wrong committee when it came to ArriveCan? No, sorry, the study of the Winnipeg lab. Sorry.
Yes, the Winnipeg lab.
They tried to bring it to the Intelligence or something committee. I think that was turned down. They said, you need to bring that to the Canada-China Relations Committee. And Conservatives claimed there was this whole conspiracy to shut it down. And so they brought it to the Canada-China Relations Committee, and the committee said, yeah, sure, we'll investigate this. Shocker. Right? That you actually bring things to the body that's actually supposed to be responsible for it, and the body that's supposed to be responsible for it actually says, yeah, okay, we'll do it. Who would have saw that coming? Apparently not Conservatives. So yesterday, as everybody in Canada knows, unless you've been living under the rock, it seems that there's a coordinated campaign between ideologically conservative, principally premiers, because we have the Liberal Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador somehow mixed in that, working in a, we'll say, cooperative fashion instead of colluding fashion or conspiratorial fashion with the federal Conservatives to try and kill any semblance of federal carbon regulation in terms of putting a price on carbon. And basically, these premiers look for every opportunity to bring this message and to vilify the federal government for this. We saw Danielle Smith over the course of the past few weeks criticize that the Prime Minister, for example, didn't visit her or make time to visit her when he went to Edmonton to make a housing announcement, even though her office was aware that he would be there. And it is custom, at least with this government, that when the Prime Minister is going to be in your province and gives you the 24-hour notice that he's going to be there, but not there to see you specifically, if you want to see him, just send a message, and if there's time on the schedule, they'll make that happen. Instead, she came here, and of course, she said, she'd be willing to speak to any committees and that type of stuff or meet the Prime Minister here. That didn't happen. The Prime Minister then went back to Alberta a couple of weeks later. They did meet. Now, for some reason, 4 premiers have managed to get themselves on the witness list federal committees to come and bring their campaign against the carbon tax. Now, carbon regulatory pricing. Now you had Danielle Smith tweet, if only the prime minister would hear us out. And it's the same thing for the damn convoy. He's heard you because you never fucking shut up about it.
Never shut up.
Ever shut up about it. It's been all over the news. It's been carried all over. You say it in your speeches. He's got a team. They monitor all that stuff. He knows how you feel. So this is not about you having an opportunity to be heard because you haven't been heard. You've been heard and you've been told no, and you don't like it. So you claim you haven't been heard. The exact same strategy as the convoy. If only he came out to talk to us. If only he would hear us. Yeah, he would have come up, he would have heard you, and he still would have told you no, like he told you all before, and then you just would have peacefully gone home, right?
No.
And nothing would have happened to him.
No. They thought they could get the Governor General to just dissolve Parliament.
Right.
And install somebody of their own choosing.
Yeah.
That is not democracy. Oh, by the way, those ass clowns are going to be, they're organizing an Axe the Tax protest on Parliament Hill on April 1st.
Oh, okay. So what happened is one of the 4 premiers that are scheduled to testify, which is Scott Moe, ended up testifying yesterday. I think the premiers of Alberta, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick had originally requested to testify before the committee. I believe that the premier of Alberta and the premier of New Brunswick will testify in back-to-back 1-hour sessions today. I'm not sure when the premier of Nova Scotia is supposed to testify or if he will yet. But Scott Moe's one, and basically all of these invitations happened at this way, but Scott Moe was invited unilaterally by the conservative chair of a committee. When the government is in a minority situation, there are certain committees that the government does not have a majority on. Now, the government, I believe, picks which ones it wants the majority on and which ones it's willing to let go. So this one was they call it the OGGO committee, and I can't remember off the top of my head what OGGO means, so I will try to get that for you. But we have talked about that before on the show. So they wanted to go to the finance committee first, and Peter Fonseca, who's the Liberal chair, didn't call a meeting of it. So they went to the OGGO committee, which is chaired by Conservative MP Kelly McCauley, and the OGGO committee is tasked with studying government expenditures. And he called 2 meetings this week to give the premiers a platform to make the pitch ahead of the hike. Now, he made those pitches unilaterally. There we go. OGGO's Government Operations and Estimates, which does make GOAE, but for some reason, OGGO. Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm sorry. Scratch that. I am wrong.
Oh.
Standing Committee on Government Operations. Kit Jim has got it right here. OGGO is doing something. They're evaluating the budget estimates. It's a completely different thing at the moment because the budget's going to be coming out on April 16th. Sorry, that was my mistake. The Standing Committee on Government Operations is the OGGO. According to the latest notice here, Higgs and Smith are scheduled to testify today, and this is according to iPolitics, although it's not clear whether they'll actually get the chance to do so, as the Liberal, New Democrat, and Bloc Québécois members collectively hold a majority at that table, at least in theory, and that would allow them to pull the plug on the planned back and forth before it gets underway. Midway through yesterday's meeting, the Liberal, Bloc Québécois, and New Democrat members voted to adopt a motion that explicitly bars the chair from inviting witnesses without an express instruction to do so from the committee, although it's not clear whether the new rule will be retroactive. So what this Kelly McCauley person did is just sent a letter of invitation to the premiers and said, I am unilaterally deciding on behalf of all the members of the committee that you have standing as witnesses, and I will schedule a meeting time for all of you to come and talk about the thing. And usually that's not how committees work.
No, not at all.
Now, I don't know if there was an official rule. Clearly not, because they had to vote for something. So I'm guessing it was a gentleman's agreement, a convention, that a Conservative MP decided to just blow up in order to provide aid and comfort to 4 premiers who are seeking to basically sabotage a federal policy, and a federal policy that is working.
Well, let's not put it past the con crew to just completely blow up anything that they had nothing to do with, because let's face it, if it's an idea that's good, but it was from a liberal, we can't have that. This is all of this is their MO. This is their MO. I mean, modus operandi, not Scott Moe. He's a different Moe, and he's MOE. But he should be SOL, because the guy comes up with the most garbage things I've ever heard of in my life. And the biggest one lately is the fact that we're not going to pay the carbon tax. Guess what? You're paying it. You just don't get the rebate now.
Yeah. The provincial government is going to have to remit the money, or else there will be a cut in transfers.
That's right.
So we have a little clip of Scott Moe testifying there that we are going to premiere. I have not watched it yet, so we're going to watch it all together. We have Premier Scott Moe tweeting this, saying, yesterday the Prime Minister asked premiers what they would do to reduce emissions instead of a carbon tax. Today in the House of Commons Committee, I answered that question. Now, this answer, I think I know what this contains because I read the article, so I haven't about it. It contains an interesting confession that I think Scott Moe was not ready to make.
Well, let's just watch this together. This will be fun.
We have that solution in place with our output-based heavy emitter fund. They pay into a tech fund, and they're able to access those dollars for investments in innovation. And like I said, they're going far above accessing just that fund for investments in innovation. They're making their own. I haven't put forward any arguments. I've put forward facts. When it comes to buying something globally, you'll have an ingredients list on the side of your box, and you'll have a price tag on it. I would say put a carbon content piece on that box as well. When you are purchasing oil that might be made in Saskatchewan and on your fuel pump, you should know that since 2015, we've reduced the emissions 65%. That's very real. If the rest of the world did that, global emissions down 25% overnight. If you're producing a granola bar or a wheat product or a canola oil product, 64% lower carbon in a Saskatchewan-based product, Saskatchewan-produced product versus somewhere else in the world. By buying that product, you are making the sustainable decision of buying a lower carbon product. The same is true when you buy potash fertilizer made in Saskatchewan. Not only would I say that it is very arguably more ethical than other places in the world, but it's had half the carbon content per ton. And you are doing right by providing that fertilizer for your farmers. You're doing right because it's cost competitive. It's it's a high grade quality, but it's the most sustainable product that you can buy in the world. And if you truly do care about the environment, you should buy your products from Saskatchewan, and I would say equally, you should buy them from Canada as well, because we are doing the right thing, whether it be in industries, whether it be in families, whether it be in communities. We are making every effort to reduce our footprints, and we're doing it and can do it without a federally imposed carbon tax.
Okay. That clip did not contain the confession that I thought it would. Here's the thing. That entire bit of testimony is based on a fallacious principle. Remember when I talked to you about Aristotelian logic? Premise, conclusion. Both premises need to be true for the conclusion to be true. If one of the premises is faulty or incorrect or erroneous, the conclusion can't be anything other than wrong. So he's sitting there and he's saying Canada is doing the right thing, so everybody should be okay with it buying Saskatchewan products and Canadian products, but we could do it without the federal carbon backstop. The reason we are where we are now is because there's a federal carbon backstop.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Saskatchewan, the reason why residents of Saskatchewan are paying the federal backstop is because that guy that was there was just too damn lazy to get off his duff to do the minimum required to make sure you don't have to pay it. So if he's bragging about 65% reductions in carbon emissions for the production of canola and wheat, it's not like he can pat himself on the back for that. He fought against that every single step of the way.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
as Elaine points out here, someone should remind him Saskatchewan is in Canada. Yeah, because he spoke as if it was apart, not like as it was separate. You should buy from Saskatchewan. You should buy from Canada too. Like, what? Huh?
Mm-hmm. As Kit Mohan
Saskatchewan
says
is
here,
part of Canada.
yeah, as Kit Mohan here says, a carbon plan is why he could say the shit he was saying. Now,
Yeah.
from the National Post, in
Mm.
an article by Catherine Lévesque titled, Scott Moe says Saskatchewan considered the carbon tax alternatives but found them too costly. Now, the cynical part of me is too costly to your political career, potentially, to actually put in place, maybe. Or too costly for the level of effort it would require you to actually develop policy, maybe. But that's an interesting statement because it is a confession. It's a confession. Moe was invited to a House of Commons committee on Wednesday to make the case for why the federal government should cancel the planned increase to the federal carbon tax on April 1st, or better yet, in his opinion, scrap the tax entirely, according to the article. Since January 1st, Saskatchewan has refused to collect the federal carbon tax for natural gas and electric home heating. The federal government has been insisting that provinces and territories are free to come up with their own system of carbon pricing if it complies with the federal benchmark in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So the reason people from Saskatchewan are paying the federal carbon backstop is that even though Scott Moe just sat there in committee patting himself on the back allegedly for all of his achievements, allegedly, in Saskatchewan, these achievements don't meet the minimum bar required by the federal government for there to be a backstop that does not apply. Right? That's the important part here, is that these achievements, no matter how much he's patting himself on the back, are not enough. That's why he's mentioning them in isolation.
Of course.
Disassociated from every other thing, like they all happened in a vacuum. Because then you don't get to compare them. You just look at 65% reduction. Wow, that sounds great. But if you've achieved 65 and everybody else has already achieved 80, your product is uncompetitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's giving you the information picked out, isolated from everything else, so that you have no standard against which to compare it to know whether or not that's good or not. 65% reduction is good. It's much better than it was. But by today's standards and by what our near peer countries and competitors are doing, is that good? Based on the goal that we need to reach for our 2050 targets and 2030 targets, is that good enough? That's what matters. He will never speak to that.
Of course.
He will never, ever, ever speak to that. So, when asked by Liberal MP Charles Sousa if Saskatchewan had ever considered replacing the federal carbon tax with a system of its own, Moe answered in the affirmative, quote, "Yes, we did. All of them were costly to our industry. Yeah, making sure you don't do bad things anymore comes with a cost. Always has. Always will." Slow-mo. Yes, we did. All of them were costly to our industry, as if the federal backstop that we're experiencing now, as is the federal backstop that we're experiencing now, as well as costly to Saskatchewan families. Yeah, okay, it has a cost. Big deal. Sousa shot back. It sounds like kicking the can down the road for the next generation to deal with. What we need is to take initiative and ensure that we are prepared to do what's necessary for future generations. Liberal MP Francis Drouin, who is a parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Agriculture, pleaded with Moe to come up with a plan that, quote, makes sense for Saskatchewan farmers. "I'm afraid that if we don't put a price on pollution, that we are not going to be competitive in our exports markets." See, just what I just said. Because eventually what's going to happen is that jurisdictions that do not have a price on pollution will be slapped with an import tariff. Moe said the federal government should instead focusing on offering global solutions to reduce greenhouse gases emissions in more polluting nations across the world. So the conservative premiers are like, you know what? If you actually helped other countries do the thing that you're asking us to do that we refuse to do, we could do more of the things that you don't want us to do. And not do the things you wanted us to do longer. That's essentially the conservative strategy. It's like, you know what? It's like, we're only 2% of the emissions, which is way more than we are per capita. Most parts of the world. So I guess, why don't we help China? Let's reduce China's, let's reduce India's GHG emissions, and then let's put that in our column as something that we did. And therefore, we don't have to change a thing. We can just keep on being lazy and pulling it out of the ground without doing anything and putting it in a train or putting it in a tube and shipping it off without cleaning it up any more than we actually are.
A good idea.
Let's do that.
Every time I get into that discussion, we only add this much pollution to the planet. Oh, so that makes it okay? Is that what you're saying? We can just continue to mess shit up? Is that what you're saying? Well, no, I'm not exactly saying that. So what? No, you just said we only contribute this much carbon emissions, this much pollution. So you're saying it's fine to... No, I didn't say that. But you said we only contribute this much, and it doesn't matter in comparison to China or the United States of America. Well, you're just... No, man. It's a straw man argument. We're making a mess. We have to be responsible, do the right thing, and clean it up.
Yeah.
Period.
And then stop making messes.
Like, it's not... I get that our contribution is small, but per capita, it's one of the highest in the world.
We are hogs.
Yeah.
We are hogs. I think we're like 0.03% of the world population or something.
Yeah.
Or 0.37% of the world's population, but we produce 2% of the global emissions, or 1.8%. That's way more. If everybody produced at the weight that we produced, we'd all be dead now.
Oh, yeah. We need 3 planets.
So, like, you know, just because we're a small group, or, you know, we're a northern country, well, so is Sweden, Norway.
Yeah. Finland.
Right.
Sure,
we're a
there's
large
40 million
country.
of us, and there's a lot less of them, but they figured out a way to do things cleanly. And
we're a large
Norway,
country. Yep.
Norway, which is the richest country on Earth by far, it's not even close. They produce a lot of oil, and they know they're going to continue to produce oil. But they said, okay, let's clean up our own country. We'll do things clean, green, find renewable energy sources. We're going to continue to pump oil because the world still needs it. We're not living in a fantasy land. We know we still need oil. Petroleum products are not going away in our lifetime. But we can make things cleaner. We can reduce the usage of fossil fuels for automobiles. We can find alternative sources. We can create energy from other sources. And that is what Norway has done. It's the highest ownership per capita of electric vehicles anywhere on Earth. Not even close.
We can still use fossil fuels. We just don't have to burn them.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, go to the hospital. Everything in there is made from petroleum. Everything. You know how much petroleum is in this little thing right here in my hand? Like, it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah. So what Mo has confessed to in this is that we have considered other methods than putting a price on carbon to reduce carbon emissions, but they were too costly. In other words, aren't you kind of admitting that putting a price on carbon is the least costly and most effective way to get the job done? Aren't you admitting that using the tax code system or using regulatory systems and fees in order to incentivize people to make other choices, hopefully, that are less harmful to the environment, that emit fewer GHGs,
well, that article in the
is
Globe,
actually the smart way to go?
Our article in the Globe says, Scott Moe says big polluters should just emit less, not be financially punished.
Yes.
That's the idea behind the carbon regulatory recovery fee. It's to incentivize you to do that.
It's not a
In
punishment.
related news, Scott Moe says expensive traffic signals should be abolished. Drivers should just drive more carefully. That's a joke. He didn't actually say that.
Yes. It's like, really? He literally went in there preaching the honor system. Because that worked for us so well.
Yeah, in the
I mean,
past.
even look at the abandoned and orphaned wells.
Yeah,
They were contractually supposed to do it, and they still decided, nah, we're not doing it because we stay around forever and governments change. So we'll just drag our heels, hope we get a more helpful government, and then, government that won't make us do it, and then we won't do it, and then another government will come in and try to make us do it, and then we'll drag our heels and wait for another government. Because, hey, we're an oil company. We'll be here for 100 years. Your government term is 4 years. We can wait.
And they will, each and every time. Governments change.
So that's the tactic here. So they even had it in law that they had to clean up their own wells, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So
they just abandoned them.
That was in law. That was not the honor system.
So, well,
and they still didn't do it. So Scott Moe coming to the mic and saying, "Hey, just wait for them to pollute less. They should just, out of the goodness of their hearts, pollute less."
I spoke to a
That's
friend
not a
of
plan.
mine in Alberta about the abandoned and orphaned wells, and he said, "Here's the thing: they're not shut down. What they do is they just walk away from them. Say, no, we'll go back and pump eventually."
Yeah,
this
when
is
we
how they
have newer
avoid cleaning it
technology
up.
that will help. Yeah, when we have newer technology that will help us get whatever's left in there that we can't get now, or that's not cost effective us, we'll go back and pump them.
Yeah. So they say that so that they can avoid doing what they're contractually bound to do, which is clean it up. It's a nice little end run around things.
Yeah, it's another variation on their technology, not taxes thing. But it's like technology, not taxes is great, but somebody has to invent that magic technology that's going to take the place of the reductions that could be coming via a carbon regulatory fee.
Well,
and our perfect example is carbon capture and storage. They've been talking to us about that for 18 damn years.
Yeah,
and we still don't have. I mean, we've got money going into pilot projects and that type of stuff, but it still hasn't, said, okay, yeah, this is actually the way it actually really, really, really works. It works effectively to make the investment worth it. And we are upscaling this across the country. That's where we are committing money so that like every province or every major polluter has, the capacity to dot itself with something like that. We haven't done it because the technology is not there.
It doesn't exist.
Technology, not taxes, is just, again, kicking the can down the road. Well, let's wait till some smart person somewhere who we're not funding very well to begin with and whose research we're not funding. And if they invent something like an Ebola vaccine, for example, we'll just try to sell to another country. That's if you're a conservative, rather than develop it or market it ourselves. But let's just wait for somebody somewhere on the planet to come up with this amazing technology that will save us all so that we do not have to do anything in order to reduce our emissions. And then, of course, when that new technology comes, it's going to cost money to upscale it, and we won't have money for that because it's for, helping reduce carbon, which doesn't help our oil and gas buddies. So we'll fight that too. Right? Because they say technology, not taxes, but they don't say, hey, if somebody invents that technology, we will definitely for sure put the money behind it, though, right? To make sure that within a year it's expanded everywhere. We will do a wartime effort and build those carbon capture and storage plants everywhere we possibly can. We've got $100 billion just waiting for the moment that technology has proven itself, and then we will just unleash it.
But we're not going to.
They're not talking about that.
Spend any money on that because we're not going to do anything to develop that technology because that will cost us money and it's not profit. And our shareholders need to get a larger check each quarter. They need a bigger dividend. Or a monthly dividend. Oh, yeah, let's get a monthly dividend. And we have to increase it each quarter because if we don't keep our shareholders happy, we don't have a company. Well, here's the other thing. If we don't have a planet, your company won't matter. I don't know what to say some days.
Yeah. Now, throughout this article, we have more about that committee stuff. The Macaulay guy, Kelly Macaulay, who sent out that unilateral invitation, had basically said his justification was, premiers should be welcomed before parliamentary committees and given the opportunity to testify, especially on matters of national importance, like the April 1st carbon tax hike. Okay, number one, unlike the majority of witnesses and the majority of everyday Canadians that show up at committee, premiers have access to the prime minister anytime. We can just pick up the phone and call the dude. Right? They don't need to take up valuable time at committee, more of our tax dollars, in order to be able to make sure that the Prime Minister hears them. They just all collectively sent him letters a couple of weeks ago. He got your letter. As you will see in the next clips that we show, he got your letters because, right, they're talking about the issue. But what happened with this one is that a Liberal MP, Eric Kuzmierczyk, said it is shameful and disrespectful to the work of this committee. His Liberal colleague, Jenica Atwin, who used to be a Green Party MP, accused Macaulay of letting, quote, his own bias show in making the decision of letting Mo speak at the committee against the carbon tax, and pointed out some stickers on his computer that indicate his love of pipelines and oil. So he actually shows up at the meeting with the laptop and goes, I love oil and gas, stickers in there. He goes, I do love oil and gas. If it bothers you, I will close my laptop, said Macaulay. Children. We're paying children close to $200,000 a year.
I some days I just do this.
Now,
and that hurt. This ring is tungsten carbide. That really hurt. I do that more cautiously. Shall we go to the clip, sir? I have the clip here. If you want to, we can show this clip of the PM.
This is courtesy CPAC.
In response to questions.
Yeah.
And here's the best part. I want you to pay attention, of course, to the question that was asked and answered, but pay attention to how he responds, because this is how you do it.
My question is about the carbon tax. Are you open to sitting down with the premiers to discuss their concerns about the carbon tax increase?
Over the past number of years, I have sat down with every premier in the country to talk about everything that we are doing together to fight climate change and everything we need to continue to do, not just to fight climate change, but to put more money in the pockets of Canadians. Conservative premiers across this country are misleading Canadians, are not telling the truth. 8 out of 10 families across the country in federal backstop jurisdictions make more money with the Canada carbon rebate than it costs with the price on pollution. So not only are we fighting climate change and reducing emissions, but we're putting more money back in the pockets of families, particularly in low and middle income families across the country. It's basic math that the Parliamentary Budget Officer has confirmed time and time again. But for ideological reasons or reasons of pure partisanship, Conservative politicians across this country are not telling the truth to Canadians. And that's why I called them out. And I'm going to continue to call them out and remind them that if they really don't like our approach to pricing pollution, they can develop their own approach. Here in BC, that's what a BC more conservative government did years ago in creating Canada's first price on pollution. Quebec did the same. Now, we expect everyone to hit the same level of ambition in the fight against climate change, because that's fair and that's important if we're going to actually make a difference in the extreme weather events that we're seeing across the country and around the world that are coming. So yes, people need to fight climate change, but any province that wants to put forward a similarly robust way to fight climate change, but do it in a way that works for them, is more than welcome to, and has been from the very beginning of our price on pollution. But Conservative premiers in general would rather complain and attack and mislead Canadians for narrow political gain because of both an ideological objection, apparently, to fighting climate change, but also to an unwillingness to recognize that we are putting more money in people's pockets with rebate checks that Pierre Poilievre wants to take away from Canadians. And to put an even clearer point on it, we announced a doubling of the rural top-up that hits millions of Canadians across the country, and that's being held up in the House of Commons by Pierre Poilievre and his Conservative Party that are preventing that doubling of the rural top-up, money in the pockets of Canadian living in rural communities across the country, from having that money to help with the high cost of living on every different level. That's irresponsible by Conservative premiers, and I'm going to continue to call out all Conservative politicians who are doing that.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom. And
Now, again, when I said pay attention to how he answers the question, he did not attack the reporter. He did not ask the reporter, are you with Canadian Press? Are you with CP? He just answered the damn question. That's how you're supposed to do it. When a reporter asks you a question, you give them an answer. That is what a statesman does. That is what a prime minister does. That is what an adult does. We don't have an adult leading the Conservative Party of Canada. We have a petulant child who lies in the House of Commons daily because he knows he can get away with it. Parliamentary privilege. He can lie straight to your face and get away with it. I just had a conversation with somebody about how he wants to go and protest the carbon tax on April 1st because he's convinced that, the PBO said you don't get more back than you pay into it. And I'm like, but you do. It's been proven. Here's an article to show you this. No, I heard that the PBO said, no, the PBO never said that. The PBO refuted every word that Poilievre said. Poilievre is a liar. He lies to you. He lies to the Canadian public daily and gets away with it, and he uses parliamentary privilege to do it.
all right, to that end, I've got two clips. The first one is a clip with a minister in the Saskatchewan government that appeared on Power and Politics yesterday. And let's look at how he answered a question from the media
Just give me a sec here, sir.
with regard to this. Compare and contrast.
Yes.
The difference
Tremendous
with our Prime
difference between
Minister.
the two. Just a second here. Things are going haywire on me, so I gotta get them all straightened out. I don't know what just happened to that feed you gave me.
Kit Mike H just appeared. He's a little late to the game this morning. Well, good morning to you, good sir. Thank you for joining us. Better late than never. We don't care when you arrive, so long as you arrive.
Yeah, that's what really matters. Let me just reopen that other thing up there.
Again, good morning, Kit Elaine, Kit Jim, Kit Carol, Kit Tavi G, Kit Mohan, Kit PNC Bio. Kit Jim says to us, by the way, data analyst here. I looked at the PBO report and can confirm Trudeau is telling the truth here. I can also see/show how the cons are doing the misleading by using averages.
Mm-hmm. They're just lying. Okay, I got a couple of clips for us here. Just give me a sec while I cue them up, good sir.
All right.
Not that one. That's the one I want to go. Here's the first one. And let's see. Whoops. I don't know what happened there. That was weird.
Yep.
You swore an oath when you went into cabinet to uphold the laws of the country and of the province, and you're not doing that now. I mean, what does that say to the people of Saskatchewan? Can they just ignore your laws if they don't like what the provincial government does?
Well, I certainly wouldn't advise anybody to follow what we're doing.
You swore an oath when you went into cabinet to uphold the laws
Oh my goodness
of the
gracious
country
me.
and of the province.
Like really? Like really? Seriously? I wouldn't advise them to do what we're doing. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, if you say so.
Shaking my damn head.
Here we go. This is good. This is good.
I dare the liberal media who've been pushing this disinformation to contact the parliamentary budget officers.
To better understand the original analysis, let's bring in Parliamentary Budget Officer Yves Giroux.
There's been a lot of disinformation spread by the NDP Liberals and their friends in the bought and paid for media about the economics of the carbon tax, claiming that you get better, that you're better off by paying the tax. Here's the facts. Here's the facts. This is from the parliamentary budget officers.
If you take into consideration the carbon tax that households pay on their fossil fuels that they're buying, gasoline, natural gas, diesel, so they pay that directly, as well as the embedded energy component of whatever goods and services they buy, and they subtract from that the rebate, then about 80% of households are better off.
The parliamentary budget officer did not include the cost of climate change because the carbon tax doesn't address the cost of climate change.
We've tried to estimate the impact of climate change between now and 2100, the year 2100, and we find that there is a cost to climate change. But for the next few years, between now and 2030, it's very difficult to determine precisely the costs of climate change.
The parliamentary budget officer made clear the carbon tax will do nothing to change the cost of climate change.
It is true that a carbon tax is very often seen by many economists as the least disruptive and probably the most cost-effective way of reaching certain levels of carbon emission.
So, once again, he fucking lied in the House of Commons to the Canadian public.
And he accused others of doing that which he himself does. It's Trey Gables. Pierre of not so Pierre of Blue Gables.
I just, some days you just want to smack somebody.
Oh, man, this dude, I swear to God, he's exhausting. So basically, we have a minister of the government of Saskatchewan saying, when it comes to not following laws, I recommend that people don't do that. So maybe, hey, perhaps not do that yourself. Just going out on a limb. I know it's a wild and crazy idea here, but if you don't recommend that the people of Saskatchewan just unilaterally decide, hey, you know what, I'm not going to obey this law anymore, then maybe as a provincial government, you should be given that example. As David Cochran reminded you, you swore an oath.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just looking at Black House as well, I suggest that other people don't do that, then you're doing something wrong. You're doing it anyway. You don't feel bad about it. You basically flippantly responded to that. It's just like, you're not particularly on good step. How do you look good? How do you think that that's a good look? Now, of course, Premier Scott Moe still has a high personal approval rating in Saskatchewan. So I guess he's going to keep up with this shtick so long as it's working for him. But having your minister go on TV and saying, you know what, you should all obey laws, even though we right now are not, and have it not scream rules for thee, but not for we.
Mm-hmm.
So you all have to follow the law. We've just unilaterally decided that we don't. Yeah. Anyway, not particularly impressed with that.
Not in the least. We're gonna have to, if we have some time tomorrow, because we won't today. I'd like to discuss the Ontario budget. Have you had a chance to get into it all yet?
A couple of details here and there that I picked up from reading, but again, I haven't had a chance to watch the actual presentation.
Well, our friend,
but yeah, there are some interesting things in there. So yeah, we should. Once I have time to actually go through it, we will dedicate an episode specifically.
Well, our friend Barney Panofsky's Best Intentions. My name's not Gordy. Has combed through it, and well, I'm just going to put this on the screen. This is his take on it. He says, "Given this a lot of thought, not an easy decision for me to make. I really do love this province. But after hearing the Ford government's mind-boggling budget yesterday, I think it's time for me to leave Ontario and move to Ottawa." Oh, it gets better, though. Let's scroll down to the first one. If you move to Ottawa, how long does it take to get your citizenship? I don't know for sure, but I first have to figure out the best place to exchange my currency. Shoppers Drug Mart may be doing currency exchange, and you can probably renew your passport there as well. It just gets better by the second.
I love that. I love
Oh
Barney
my God.
Podolsky.
My name's not Gordy.
Oh man, I love it. I love it.
One question was, I thought you were coming to Alberta. I would, but I've already spent way too much money in my lifetime replacing torn out block heater cords.
Ooh, ouch. Ouch. And that my name's not Gordy tweet is a bit of a parody on another one, because there are a whole bunch of there's been a whole campaign the past couple of days. So I've been living in Canada all my life, but I really think it's time for me to move. Okay. You will be missed. Bye. I don't know. I don't know, man. Because we'll have to wrap up soon, I want to do a little bit of Canadians who make us proud, because our athletes are doing it again. Now, we mentioned that Team Rachel Homan, of course, won the gold medal at the World Curling Championships. And we mentioned that our ice dance team of Diana Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps won the World Pairs gold at the World Figure Skating Championships, and that Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier won the silver in ice dance. What we did not report, however, is that in ice dance, not only did we finish second, but we had a team that finished fifth. Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Laga posted personal best scores in both phases of the competition, and by finishing fifth, they are now considered in they're usually placed in groups of 5. You go and compete. So they are technically what they call the top flight of world ice dance teams. So we have 2 of them in the top 5, which means that's 2 teams that have medal potential at the upcoming Olympics in 2 years from now. So that's pretty exciting. Marielle Thompson, if you like ski cross, is a name that you are very aware of, because she's been on the scene for a good while. She had an incredible season, and in which she won 6 races. So she picked up 6 gold medals, and that put her on top of the standings for the entire year, meaning that she won the Crystal Globe in her sport for the topping the overall standings for the season. I believe it's her fourth time that she has won the Crystal Globe in her entire career. In that last race where she won gold, she was joined on the podium by teammate Brittany Fellon, who won bronze in the race and took bronze on the overall season. So in women's ski cross, 2 of the top 3 in the world are Canadian women, of course, because they kick ass. In Friday's race, India Sherritt also claimed silver to make it a double podium for Canada, and she finished 6th in the overall standing. So 3 of the top 6 in the world
Wow.
are Canadian when it comes to that. For the men, Rhys Howden finished the season in 2nd place overall by winning a silver in this last race. He was in 3rd place before the race, but was able with that result to jump over Alex Fiva from Switzerland, who was in 3rd, to get the 2nd part. Also, Team Canada secured the Nations Cup, which is an award presented each year to the country that topped the Fédération Internationale de Ski standings, and it's Canada's 3rd win in a row. Team Canada has won the cup 11 times out of the 17 years it's been presented in ski cross.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
In snowboard, Elliot Grandin, who grew up in Sainte-Marie, Quebec, won both his races on the weekend and took home the Crystal Globe in snowboard cross.
Oh, cool.
There you go. He was so far in front of the standings that he already had the Crystal Globe tied up before hitting the snow this weekend. So with 2 races to go, he had already got it. He's gotten 10 podiums over the course of the year, capping it off with double gold.
That's pretty awesome.
Just an ordinary performance.
In
And in snowboard slopestyle, 21-year-old Liam Brearley made Canadian history, because he became the first Canadian to win a Crystal Globe. So another season champion in another winter sport. He scored his fourth victory of the season and passed Ryoma Kimata of Japan to get the top spot. So the last race was determinative in who was going to finish. He said, I really thought one of the Canadian squad would have done it before me, he told the Fédération Internationale de Ski following the win. I had no clue about that coming into this contest, but it's super sick to be the first one, and I'm glad I could do it here.
Nice.
There you go. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that Canadian athletes have done. Medals in diving, medals in judo.
Sens won last night,
medals
6-2 over
in
Buffalo.
bobs.
Not that it means anything, but it's just nice to get a win. Sens
Pardon?
won last night, 6-2 over Buffalo. It's
Yes.
not very meaningful. They won't make the playoffs. I mean, but it's nice to get a win, right? It's nice to get a win, especially against Buffalo, because Buffalo is like a rival team. We have a long history with Buffalo. I have some news. How the Conservatives can go on embarrassing themselves and Canada at the same time with their new T-shirt, Common Sense for Canada. Have you seen this yet, sir?
I have not seen the Common Sense for
Well,
Canada
I'm going to put,
t-shirt.
this is just the top half. The bottom half has 2 hockey sticks, but they look more like field hockey sticks. Take a look at the mountain in the middle. Do you recognize that? Do you recognize that? I do. I went, that's not a Canadian mountain.
That's not a Canadian
That's
mountain.
the
Yeah, I was
Matterhorn.
wondering about that.
In Switzerland. They can't. Let's go down. Beaver Canoe should all pursue them for intellectual property theft. Look at his Common Sense T-shirt in the Beaver Canoe. Like, they cannot create anything. They steal, they lie, they cheat.
Wow.
Yeah. They can't even create a Canadian T-shirt with a Canadian mountain on it. They had to put the Matterhorn. And they're like, no, that's not the Matterhorn. That's Mount Assiniboia. No, it's not. That's the Matterhorn. There's no arguing it. It's not even close to being an argument. Let's take another look at it here, shall we? Let's do the full side-by-side. The side-by-side. On the left, we have the Common Sense T-shirt. On the right, we have the Matterhorn. Common Sense, Matterhorn.
Can you see the difference? I can't see the difference. Do you see the difference? I feel like we should be selling detergent all of a sudden.
They can't do. And we just showed you how he lied to our faces in the House of Commons. He picked and chose things to say this, that, and the other thing, and it was all bullshit. He needs to be called out for this daily.
All lies all the time. How are we doing for time?
We got to
Mr.
wrap
Wesley?
it up, sir.
All right, kids and cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. And you see how the show goes by much more smoothly when I'm prepared. And once again, I thank you for your indulgence yesterday, kids and cubs. Because sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. Please tell your peeps and poops all about us. Because word of mouth is priceless. And we love it when you talk about us. If you would like to support us, you can do so by subscribing to our pod page, sponsored by the Ray Girl. Podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you click subscribe there, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. For people who are listening on the audio versions, I know I'm about a week late getting them out to you. Just sorry. It's the last 2 weeks have been extremely busy, as you know, with, if you've been in community theater or in theater in any way, live show, the last 2 weeks are pretty much all consuming. It becomes your entire life.
Well, not just community
so hopefully
theater,
I will.
Theater in general, right? It's like, yeah.
Yes. But if you're doing theater in general and theater is your job, at least you're getting paid to be there. This is all volunteer, right? So doing theater requires calories, so you still have to hold down a job.
Everywhere, babe.
But I will be able to hopefully, once I get caught up on a little bit of sleep, move forward on those and get us back up to speed on time. So thank you for your patience there. If you would like to support us in other ways, you can make like Kit Elaine and go to the True North Eager Beaver Media page on YouTube and click like, share, subscribe. As Kit Tabby G goes, you might know you have a life win. Indeed. If you click our buttons there, that helps us a lot. We appreciate it. And we are grateful, of course, for the gift of your attention. If you would like to support us in other ways, the Squiggly by Mr. Grizzly's Head brings you to our coffee page and the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And if you like our product, you like the quality of our show, you like the information that we bring to you, you just like us,
Some of us.
I
I like
feel
me.
sorry for us, we'll take pity donations too.
Not above it.
You hate watch us and you enjoy hate watching
Send us money.
because we give you things to scream about. Send us money. We're really not
Yeah,
picky.
well, we don't get paid for this.
See, we're still poor, so we don't have the luxury of pride yet.
Pride. That's a song by you too. That's all that is.
So send us your money.
Don't be shy. Just send us your money.
Oh man, jeez. Because democracy is something that you do. Please write those letters. Let your MPs, your MLAs, your MPPs, your senators, members of the media know what causes matter to you with regard to your elected officials. Take some time and ask for a meeting. Let them know face to face what it is that your priorities are. This is the time to do it. This, especially if you're in a province where you're entering an election cycle, this is the time to let people know what's on your
very
mind.
much so.
So, absolutely. Yes, Kit Elaine, Queen Snuggles will shake it for tips. You know it. I'm a slave to nothing else but the rhythm. Shake it. All right. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for the kits and cubs today?
Take your vitamins, your antidepressants, and if you are feeling allergic today, maybe a Benadryl or two. The allergies are really bad right now in the city of Ottawa. The pollen count is rather high, surprisingly, even though we're not seeing any leaves on the trees. It's the cedar and juniper bushes that are spitting the pollen out like crazy. The count is off the charts and there's snow mold everywhere. So if you see somebody sniffling, just give them the nod, like, I got you. I know what's going on, because I feel the same way too.
All right. Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
I gotta find them. Where did I put them? I can't remember where I put them. Oh, there they are. I found them. There they are.
Have you checked up? You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
I was just thinking.
Oh,
I was
darn.
just thinking something there that we should start doing so we look more professional. Is that at the end of each show we should just start stacking papers and pretending we're have banter back and forth towards and stack papers. I think that would be funny. I have a tweet to show you from a gentleman. I don't know who this person is and never met him before. @Paul_D_Heslip. And I'll just put it on the screen, then I'll read it to you. It says, talk to my buddy Fordsy from the Big Smoke. Dougie said, all I have to do is tell the tractors not to make so much smoke. Then that carbon stuff goes away and all will be great. I say, scrap the tax and spike the drinks. Then all will be rosy and cozy here on the prairies.
Yeah, the drink that you have while holding your powerful paycheck in one hand. But you pressed that credit button at the exact right time, because I guess we'll never know how that sentence I was saying is going to end.
Oh, I don't know. Did I cut you off?
You said, I don't know where you put it. It says, have you checked up your... and then the credits started.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alrighty, I got to get out of here. I got to go to the office and earn some money so I can pay the bills that we have for all of this. All of this.
Yes. So one final little thing from me. With regards to, because we've been talking about climate, the federal conservatives say that they won't be taking advice from, quote, so-called experts when it comes to carbon pricing after more than 200 economists signs an open letter challenging Pierre Poilievre's stance. Instead, the party is, according to iPolitics, quote, pledging to listen to the common sense of the common people. So it seems that Pierre is going to get his environmental policy from that electrician that gathers lightning from the sky. Have a good day, kids.
I'll see ya.